Okay, we are back.
Okay, let me find us.
Sorry, folks. We were booted offline, had some technical things, and we brought up certain people's names and started having trouble.
Yeah.
Took some technical safety measures that we're not going to tell you about, but we should be strong and back. The only bad thing is that we've lost some of you. Some of you had come onto the stream. You were cruising along, but then it started getting all janky, It's like, and, I understand that it's kind of frustrating when you have a show full of information. You want to gather all the information, hear it as it comes out, and boom, you can't actually even watch it. And, you might just decide to watch it later, but we want to provide you a really good show, and we want you to really hang in there. See the stuff we're showing, because we have all sorts of video clips and stuff, and it all connects to the things we're talking about. So it's very, very important that we give you the full show. And it looks like we still have a little bit of trouble, and that's that's
How is that even possible?
Well, the internet's not all that reliable all the time, no matter what you think.
Oh man.
So it's still janky.
It's going to be the same, basically?
I don't know. I can't predict the future.
Well,
just losing a packet every once in a while is not that big of a deal. But when like right now, we are totally green. We are green to go.
Green.
We have the green signal.
Okay.
So.
Well, why don't you tell people where we were at and what we were telling people about?
Well, we were just about get to my spot here. We were just about going into the past. We had just shown the Buzzsaw Sean Stone interview of James Martinez and talking a bit about James Martinez and his connection to Wesley Clark Jr., that he was a person that basically he always talked to before he talked to Phyllis Young.
Right.
He always said that. He always entreed the call. And then we see that this James Martinez is being interviewed by Sean Stone, which is has been part of the InfoWars and is now part of the Lip TV, is now connected to the TYT channel, and we're strong, we're going good, and then we came up on cold fusion, because that's what that interview was about, and the Forbes article talks about, is cold fusion feasible or is it a fraud? And there is a documentation out there that shows that the original experiments of cold fusion as an alternate energy source, actually, those experiments are flawed. The very beginning experiments. And the thing about when you try to prove that you have something viable and new, you should be able to replicate it. And they can't replicate the original experiment. So it looks like the stuff is a fraud. It's being peddled with the indigenous communities and connecting to Standing Rock. Mm-hmm. And as we were looking at it, we also showed a video where Rosanna Arquette was being interviewed by Harper Simon, mm-hmm. and their connection to Seven McDonald, which was the publicist for Wesley Clark Jr. at Standing Rock and continues to be this day, and connections
along with
Maggie Day.
With
Maggie Day.
Let's not forget about Maggie Day.
Exactly.
The reason I was going to show you these next videos of these Standing Rock people that were well known in the leadership of Standing Rock. The next one I'm going to show you is Dee Dee Banerjee, who was with the medics and healers out there at Standing Rock. She's also connected to these movers and shakers because she went out to Hollywood and she stayed, Dee Dee Banerjee stayed with Maggie Day in Hollywood, in LA, stayed at her place, stayed at her house. She not only, Dee Dee Banerjee didn't just stay with her, she received money for Mike Fassig through one of Maggie Day's, celebrity friends, Max Carter.
Oh, okay. That's right. Max Carter, yeah.
And she talked about Maggie Day. You heard her talk about it. Talked about how she thought that Mike Fassig was abusive and that he wanted to, he was just greedy and wanted to get money, and that Dee Dee Banerjee had told him that he had put revenge porn of her up on the internet. So he was, undoubtedly, according to Maggie Day's retelling of her visit by Dee Dee Banerjee, a bad guy. And yet, I continually saw Dee Dee Banerjee propping up this informant, propping up other informants. Even while they had all along been watching our show. We interviewed Dee Dee Banerjee on maybe 5 different occasions out at Standing Rock.
Yeah, exactly.
She never once mentioned that she was from here.
Mm-hmm.
She never once said, "Oh, I'm from Fargo." She never once mentioned that she was, originally from India. She was hanging out with an adopted or a stepsister of sorts. Like her dad, one of her parents is from India, and one of her parents is white. And what the parent that is not from India married some guy who's not her real dad, who's Lakota. So her not real biological dad, who's Lakota, is the reason why she's somehow connected to indigeneity of this continent.
Mm-hmm.
And why I guess she feels comfortable walking around telling people her Indian name and acting as if, letting people believe that she's actually Native American.
Yeah.
And a lot of these people have donned that mantle of, being that. Here's the other thing that I learned, and because I haven't been able to talk to her, she blocked me and Nemo.
Mm-hmm.
I think
and
probably,
me too,
and you too. She blocked all of us, so we couldn't talk to her anymore. But she was constantly being seen around all of the people that were committing crime and fraud. For example, she was one of the reporters that was going out to report on behalf of Miko Hayes out at the Flint Wolves Den, where another rapist, Chelsea Lyons Kent, and Jordan Sheridan, the people that raped Carly Hammond, also were associated with that house, and that rape actually happened in Flint. And Dee Dee wasn't just friends with all the wrong people, hanging out with all of these criminals that were out like raping people and defrauding people.
Yeah.
She was connected to the Hollywood people and the money all the way at the top. As I said, she went to Maggie's house. One of the reasons that I first started to have doubts about Maggie's sincerity and who she was and who she was telling me that she was connected to was precisely because of Dee Dee Banerjee. Because I started to suspect something was wrong with Dee Dee Banerjee. I knew that she watched our shows all the time. She also told me she was in constant contact with Jordan Sheridan. She was watching the stories of what was happening on my show with Kathleen Bennett, and yet she was hanging out with all of the people associated with putting her in jail and putting her mom in an early grave. So I started to really question what kind of compassion and love a person like Dee Dee Banerjee can have for Lakota people, for indigenous people, or for women in general, if she doesn't seem to care about what her friends have done to these 2 Lakota women. And I also, and this is when I was most disappointed, because by the point that she actually went to that march that they all went to in Washington, D.C., and she was literally hanging out with Mulaney and all those people that committed the crime. And I'm like, well, maybe she just thinks it's cool to be at a march, and it just so happens that all of these really shady people are also there, and like she can't account for who goes to what marches. But her connections to all of these grifters and drifters has never ended, as I'm about to show you. This is just from a couple months ago when she showed up here in North Dakota. Supposedly, she'd come out here, according to the comments that she put on our show a while back. She was coming here to attend some kind of a funeral.
Yeah, or some sort of service or something.
Some kind of a memorial service.
Yeah.
Memorial service. But and as you will see in the videos, clips I'm going to show you, she changed her mind and ended up going and visiting her old pals, including informant and con man Mike Fassig.
It was an informant reunion.
Yeah, I guess.
Hi. I'm in the war pony from Standing Rock. Can you see Mike? Like, can we put these on or no? Whoops.
Yeah, just push the button there.
Okay. Say hi.
Hello.
And I got to sign the war pony, and this is Sally doing another live feed. We got Manchester in the house. We got Toronto in the house. So Minneapolis is shaping up. Ernesto, brother. Tina. Suzanne, Connie, let me see here, Dawn, Joanne, not much, I'm supposed to be sleeping, but I realized I was coming into Minneapolis and there's no way I couldn't have seen Mike. I finally got to sign the war pony,
Yep.
which is awesome.
That's been a long time waiting.
I know, right? Hey, I'll show you, can I? Can you give me some light there, Sally, on this? I signed it. There's my lovely left-handed scratch. And then my Indian name right there. That means so much to me. Awesome. Yay. Hi, Amy.
Wow.
So, there was a bunch more of that.
Yeah, we don't want to put you through all of it.
No. She's super proud of her Indian name, right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't bother you a little bit to be hanging out with people that were informants against people like Kathleen Bennett?
Well, even now, like this is just weeks ago. And she's saying, "Oh, Ernesto," and she's hanging out with the perpetrators, people who have been shown to be, doing really dirty things in the whole movement.
And she knew about it because
Yeah,
she went on that Cabin Talk show talking smack about our show.
Yeah.
Last year, she was like, "Oh, Cindy, she used to be so good, and now she's bad because I'm calling out all your friends."
Yeah.
You didn't just. It wasn't like. She was just unaware of the fact that these people were evil. She began to defend them.
Yeah.
Actively defend them and sow misinformation against a completely innocent woman. And you know what? As I saw her do these things, as I watched her act shadier and shadier, I was like, Maggie, you need to tell me about Dee Dee, because she kept telling me, "Oh, Dee Dee's, no, she's just naive. Oh, no, Dee Dee's just kind of ditzy, Dee Dee's, no, she's not connected to anything. No, of course not." And every single time that I would question Dee Dee Banerjee's behaviors and what she was associating herself with and who she was talking to, she was in constant contact with Jordan Sheridan. I was like, Dee Dee was one of the conduits of information that were going directly to TYT. And, that's another connection back to Wes and Maggie, but also to Jank. And frankly, she was kind of in charge of messaging to media. So she was constantly sending me stuff that she wanted me to put on our station. And it was Maggie's reluctance to ever have me confront her or expose her that really ticked me off, because at some point I obviously became convinced when I was watching this woman that seems like she's so demure. She wouldn't
Oh.
kill a fly. And she just wants unity and peace and kindness and love and all of the above.
Yeah.
But she turns a blind eye to crime.
Yep.
She hangs out with rapists and criminals, and she's okay with it. She's okay with the fact that she has seen me call these people out for committing crimes against other human beings, for making threats against people, including the ones made against our station, against me personally, by Dean Dedman and Mike Fassig in a video in which they were burning buildings at the end of the camp.
Mm-hmm.
And these people didn't just theoretically threaten me. People came to my home. People were harassing us for months and months over the phone and physically in person. So for a person as demure and as so wholesome as Dee Dee Banerjee made herself out to be, she sure is hanging out with some shady people, committing some heinous acts. And she's just smiling along with the flag. Nothing. And when she saw us calling these people out, she didn't distance herself from them.
No.
She went and ran to the other faux media outlets to defend them and to deride our station, to put our station and our reporting and our work down. And now we have all of the receipts to prove they were the ones that were lying to you this entire time. They were the ones picking your pockets and lining their own. Here are the grifters and the drifters. And now I'm going to show you another video with this James Martinez, the guy that I was telling you interviewed Marcus Mitchell. That he was one of the people that was with her in her recent visit, Dee Dee Banerjee. In her recent visit, here's who she was hanging out with. I'm going to paint a picture of all of the Standing Rock people that were in this vicinity hanging out right around the same time. Okay, here you go. We got.
Yeah, we should have done a cannonball in Cannonball when we were in Cannonball.
You guys doing cannonball?
That's Dean Dedman, I believe.
You guys live? Oh. Hey everybody. How's everybody doing on live feed? I hope everybody's really taking care of themselves and really keeping themselves in that moment, because we're still live. Still good?
Yeah, I don't see anybody on. Oh, there we go. Bingo.
All right, well,
Louise Catherine is on. We got 3-0.
That's my Blackfeet, Mom. I gotta say, Leona, I'm in Mobridge, South Dakota.
Yeah.
Shout out to Blackfeet in Montana. That's Leona Gopher.
Right.
No, that isn't. Sorry, wrong Leona.
Oh.
I can't read without.
hey everybody, how's everybody going out there? And we're here in Mobridge, South Dakota. I'm actually really embracing and enjoying this time with my beautiful family here.
Yeah.
You know, in these times when the moon is bright, and the moon is red, the moon is bloody, and the moon is changing us all the time, and all these things that go through us all the time. And we got this time to really get together, and it was really cool that you guys came out and picked me up at this time. And it's just been a blessing, you know.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Dee Dee since we left Sacred Stone, you know.
Right.
And
It's been a long
God,
time.
we didn't even meet during the movement, but we're just shoulder to shoulder. But I spent like 2 months with you in
But you
Rhode
did. You
Island.
live fed the back of my head.
Okay.
I don't know if you could. Well, people can't see
Yeah.
that are listening on the radio, but or listening to our podcast. But there's all three of them. Well, actually, there's 4 people in this video. Dean Dedman, the drone pilot out at Standing Rock. James Martinez, who is just kind of like this activist. By the way, I need to mention this James Martinez guy. Does he look like a Mexican to you?
No, not to me.
He looks pretty white, right?
Mhm.
And the other guy, that Gonzalez fusion guy, what was his name? The cold fusion guy that we just saw with Sean Stone. I can't remember his name. James Martinez.
Yeah.
Did he look like a Mexican to you?
No.
You just saw the video, because I mean, some people can't see these videos, so they don't see what's going on the screen. They just hear a Mexican, or what could be construed as an indigenous sounding last name, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they don't see the person on the screen. And in the case of the Sean Stone video, clearly the guy that was on the screen was a white dude.
Yeah.
But his name is James Martinez.
Yeah.
And this guy, John Gonzalez, looks like a white dude to me. But he also pretends to be Native American, talks like he's an Indian, dresses in many cases like he's an Indian,
Okay.
etc. etc. So I just wanted to point that out, because that's one of the other appropriative things that I find to be very racist and gross. I don't find that it honors indigenous people when you try to act like you're us. Like, that's not cool. It would be like, trying to be Rachel Dolezal.
Mm-hmm.
Talking like a black person, wearing my hair like a black person, painting my face up like I mean, that's wrong. That's transracial. Then that's not a real thing, and y'all need to stop trying to be indigenous people, to fantasize, to fetishize, and to stereotype us, and call that activism and trying to help us. That's not what it is. And if you're doing it that way, you're doing it wrong. And a lot of these folks are, because they're not actually concerned about the issues that are being faced by indigenous people. They want to co-opt them, and they want to make money off of them. And people like Didi Banerjee and Mike Fasek did just that. And I'm assuming Dean Dedman made thousands and thousands of dollars. I don't even know how many drones that guy got.
Yeah, exactly.
But they did. They got a lot of donations. They got a lot of money. And Mr. Martinez was one of the people out there that was filming everything. He was like this Doug McLean guy.
Okay.
That was always filming things and putting them, like one of those social media guru types. So I just wanted to show you, he was here. He was with them. Guess who else he was with? Here's another one of his videos that he shot. James Martinez, the guy you just saw in the pool with Dean Dedman. And that is a video of LaDonna Brave Bull Allard and Matt Remmel. Oh, just one thing. I do want to mention, in that other video, there was 4 people, like I said. There was Didi Banerjee, Dean Dedman, James Martinez, and the little boy.
Yeah.
The boy in the picture is Didi Banerjee's son. The boy in the video is Didi Banerjee's son, and you'll see a little bit more of him coming up. So she brought her son with her, again to reinforce. I'm telling you, she was going to go to a memorial, but she ended up going and hanging out with all these other people, and since she brought her son along, he had to go and hang out with these people as well. Her child. She's okay with that.
Yeah.
Not a problem. Here's a video of LaDonna and Matt Remmel being interviewed by James Martinez.
So if you're paying attention to what's happening in the news, you know that in North Dakota, the Attorney General has officially ruled that Dakota Access did not have legal title to the land where the pipeline was installed. How did they file trespassing charges against all the water protectors when they did not have legal title to the land? Second, Red Fawn was sentenced. Hopefully, we're praying that she will be released in 24 months on good behavior. We feel personally this is a great injustice. This should have never happened, and she should not be serving any jail time. We also send our support to Little Feather, as he is also serving time for crimes of just standing up for defending the earth and the land. These areas, these lands, are the footprint of our people. They are the history and culture of our people. We're doing our best to try to do everything in a good way, in prayer, in ceremony, but also to stand up and fight against injustice. To me, in all of my life, I have...
Yeah.
Okay. I made a mistake, so I'm going to go ahead and correct it now. I'm not sure if that video that you just saw was one of James Martinez, or not James Martinez, John Gonzalez's videos. But it was made around the same time frame. It was dated July 15, 2018.
I see.
Posted on Sacred Stone Village on their videos on Facebook. And so, and the fact is that LaDonna was here in that time period. And this was right before they go on this big trip to Europe, which I'm going to show you about. But this is right on the tip of going out there. They're making all these videos. This was one of them. Matt Remmel is part of Chase's group in the Last Real Indians.
Mm-hmm.
Matt Remmel, Cody Two Bears, DJ Two Bears, all of those people were working together with Chase Iron Eyes. So I just wanted to put those connections in your mind. Here's another video of John Gonzalez. This one is John Gonzalez.
All right.
Now I want you to pay attention to this video because I'm going to show you some people in it in a minute. First, let me show you the video. In it, you're going to see certain people. First of all, you will see on your right-hand side, LaDonna. And I think she's filming with a tablet or something. Sitting kind of in the center of the frame is Tina Pugliese of Women in Indigenous Media, who you saw with her in Hawaii, who you've seen with her, who was living with her at Standing Rock. She was one of the many people that's been with her, a lot of this time. She was out at in Washington, D.C. as well.
Mm-hmm.
When Ed Higgins was there, when, all those people went out there. And LaDonna's maybe soon-to-be daughter-in-law, the woman that is currently dating her son, is in the video all the way to the left of the frame in the picture. And she has tattoos on her forehead, on her chin, and on her arms. You'll see that. You will also notice that LaDonna has some new tats that she gave her on her arm in these videos. If you pay attention, she's got some tats on her arms. LaDonna just got some tats on her arms that her daughter-in-law did for her. They're not. I don't know if they're married. The girlfriend of her son did for her. And see if you recognize anybody else. Here's that video. John Gonzalez.
Sing it loud enough. And you broke it.
Ready?
See her, she's wearing a red bandana. And I don't know why they're wearing bandanas, because they're still identifiable. Right in front of her, sitting in the chair right in front of her, is her son. And he's wearing a bandana too. You can see he's got a bunch of tattoos on his arms. You see that? And next to him, kind of behind him, is his girlfriend. She's the one that has the chin tattoo and the forehead tattoo.
Oh, yeah.
And you'll notice that as it pans over there. You see that? It's kind of hard to see because she's facing sideways, but you can see right there. See that?
Mm-hmm.
Forehead tattoo, chin tattoo. She's got tattoos on her arms. He does too. And of course, then there's this guy that's rapping. But I really wanted you to notice the people in the foreground. They're going to pan out here in a second. You'll be able to catch it again. There's Tina Pugliese. She's filming this rapper right now, who's sitting at a computer. There's LaDonna's son in the Pink Floyd t-shirt. Behind him, with the long hair, tattoo on her forehead and chin, tats on her arms, is the girlfriend. I don't know who those people are back there in the background, but one of them has blonde hair. And they're wearing bandanas that say, is that ISIS? Does that say ISIS?
Can't tell.
They're kind of crazy, those things. And I have no idea why they felt they needed to wear bandanas to cover up their faces.
I know.
but
LaDonna
they're
slipped
doing a
off her
very good
face.
job.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't really do a very good job of covering up their faces
Yeah.
or, keeping themselves from being identified. I mean, if you're going to cover up your, face, you probably should also cover up your tats because
Yeah.
people can identify you.
Yeah, really, what's the identifiable things?
Yeah. So I wanted to show you this picture of that gathering, or a screenshot of that gathering, so you can identify some of those folks. Again, you can see right there one of the people that is in this. No, you can make it smaller again. If you make it smaller again, a little bit more, you can see right there to the right that one of the people tagged along with this video is. Now, can you move it more to the right so we can see the comment over there? There you go. Now expand that.
Oh, I just left it big so you can see it.
There you go. You see it says right there, John Gonzalez did this video. It's on his page. And it says he was live with Tina Pugliese. And it says right there that she is the director of digital media production editing training with American Apparel Factory, California State University. Well, it doesn't say that she's with in Women Indigenous Media, but that is
It
what
would have
she
been
is.
there, but it had ... So
Oh, so it didn't get expanded. But yeah, so you can see, I just wanted to make sure I could show you. That's her in the pink dress in the middle of the frame. Of course, there's LaDonna and her son and the girlfriend.
Yep.
All right, next I wanted to show you this Freedom McLaughlin post where the son that I just spoke to you of and his girlfriend, you can see clearly their faces and who they are. I just wanted to make sure that you could see them because they're sitting sideways. One's got a bandana on his face. You can't identify who they are. But here's some of the people that were at this gathering, okay?
Yep.
In this next post of some of the tattoos that Freedom McLaughlin posted, you can see these are tattoos being done by Stephanie Big Eagle. That's the girlfriend that LaDonna's son is dating, Stephanie Big Eagle. And these are some of the tats that she did. And you'll see some that she did on LaDonna in some of these other videos. Here's the next Tina and LaDonna. If you look over there, you will notice it says from Shy Bidzil, we are all out there now, inspiring the world. Now, I just wanted to point it out that Shy Bidzil, which you just saw in the pool with Dee Dee Banerjee, and this is around the same time that they're all out here, is paying attention to John Gonzalez's videos, who he was in the pool with. This is the guy he was in the pool with that's taking this video. So I'm gonna go out on a limb here and guess that they were all hanging out together at the same time. Okay. So next one here is LaDonna and Phyllis Young being filmed by, again, John Gonzalez. This is his video of them.
And the Lakota on the Black Hills.
You see the LaDonna tats?
The Bundestag adopted the resolution to support the Lakotas against the sale of the Black Hills. And Petra Kelly was a historical figure who supported our struggle. And so Germany, we did a tour for human rights, and Floyd Westerman sang the songs. Yeah. So we did a tour, that's 40 years ago, so it's old stuff, but we still have to continue our fight for the Black Hills.
Phyllis, could you give us a brief introduction as to who you are and tell everybody who you are?
Chante washte na pe chuzape, mini tehiowi hemachiapi, na mini yuha najiwi hemachiapi. I'm Phyllis Young is my American name. I live on 107 miles of shoreline on Standing Rock, and I'm just sharing with some people today who want to follow up on what we're doing here after the camps, Ocheti Shakowin camp, and some of the activities that are ongoing, the continuing campaign to keep free from the oil and gas development that are here, because there are 55 applications for more pipelines here. So that's who I am.
In North Dakota, South Dakota, and
Yeah.
And she's talking about energy. Once again, they're talking about energy, and I think Phyllis and some of the people that she's been hanging out with want to have control of energy policy, and also they want to get their fingers in the honeypot of those green energy dollars. Whether or not it's real, whether or not what they're really peddling makes any sense or is even junk science or real science, it doesn't seem to matter. But in the process, they're going here, thither, and yon. You notice that she mentioned that she went at one point to Germany. She's been traveling all around the country, all around the globe, actually, since Standing Rock. And here is a small clip of a video that John Gonzalez did with LaDonna talking to some Germans. Remember what I told you about that, obsession that they have in Germany for neo-Indians. And by neo-Indians, I mean they like to pretend to be Indians themselves and be transracial, and they believe that they're better representatives of Indians than real ones. They do. So there's some weird stuff going on. I'm not saying that these particular people in this video are that way, but I just find it really interesting, the fascination that these German people, that these German subjects have with Standing Rock, and how much of that exploitation of their I guess fetishizing of indigenous bodies was engaged in by LaDonna, by Phyllis and their kids, and whoever could get, Chase, and whoever of them could cash in on a free trip somewhere, dressed up in a ribbon skirt, with an Indian name, even if they're not really from Standing Rock in particular, or if they're not working for the majority of the people at Standing Rock. Because there were some people that were from Standing Rock, but they don't necessarily represent all of the people from Standing Rock or their desire. So let me share with you this little clip of LaDonna talking with some German people at this party.
Yeah, that's like putting your life in somebody's hands, and it could be crazy. Oh wait, we have Trump. When I was in Germany, I kindly asked the people I was talking to, would you please take Trump back? He's from Germany, you can have him back now. And they all said no. I was trying to give them back something.
actually what's really frightening me is that also the political atmosphere in many of the European countries is changing. Like we have this problem with immigrants that, European Union is fencing up its border and letting people drown in the Mediterranean Sea.
What is your media system? Who is controlling it? How is it controlling it? Just like you said, I'm not too sure about whether or not to put this article in. I was like, why not? Media is so important. It's the core of everything, because who controls the media and who voices the story is in control of the world. So what's here on Standing Rock and what has happened and what has happened since can only be really told by us who were there at Standing Rock, who were at the camps. And I tell everybody, I said, with all the propaganda that was put out there, with all because the oil companies bought up the newspapers and the TV stations, and so all of the press that went out, it's like, who told these stories? None of this stuff happened. So now we are trying to recoup and saying this is what really happened.
I don't know how reliable she is to be going around telling people what really happened at Standing Rock.
Yeah.
Because her and a lot of the people that surrounded her, that she took with her to Hawaii, including the kidnapper, Mulaney Stoneman,
Yeah.
including the people that denied that this story was even real, like Ed Higgins, all of them hid the story of Kathleen Bennett and what happened to her mom, Mary Trujillo. They didn't do anything to try to get that woman out of jail. They hung out with the criminals that made false statements around her. They propped up in the media the people that gave statements to Morton County that were completely fabricated so that she was thrown in jail and spent 6 months there. That's what they did instead. How do you feel about her statements that about the media being kind of, she's asking this German person, like, who runs your media, who controls your media? Because that's who controls everything. Because I know this because I was out at Standing Rock, and there was all of these fake stories going on about what really happened at Standing Rock out there, and it just upset me. I thought, who's telling these stories? Because I know something different happened at Standing Rock, so now I have to go tell people what really happened and reclaim the truth. LaDonna is still silent about what happened to Kathleen Bennett and all of the people that she surrounded herself with that knew about it. Or the fact that they left Brendan Nastasio holding the bag. The fact that she attacked his girlfriend and his story. All of these people have been in some way complicit, if not in the crimes that were committed against water protectors, in hiding those crimes from the public view.
I thought she was also basically signaling exactly what her strategy is. And it's to only authenticate the true stories of Standing Rock are from the people who were actually at Standing Rock. Well, we were at Standing Rock. Don't we have any credibility for the stories that we reported on from Standing Rock? We worked with Kathleen Bennett and her mother for a year and a half. LaDonna didn't say a single thing about Kathleen Bennett. She knew the story from the paid media, from the oil pipelines, like she said. Mm-hmm. Who made up this stuff? Yeah, the infiltrators made that stuff up, and you were part of it. Mm-hmm. You were complacent in letting it stay. You didn't correct the record on the truth at all. So when I hear her say that, it irritates me. And it also says it's a setup. There's going to be a specific select few people that meet a certain criteria of having been at Standing Rock. But not only that, it wasn't that you just went there. You have to be of this group that she's been shepherding around the world. Basically, they're going to be the storytellers of Standing Rock. They're going to create the false narrative of Standing Rock because they're still cashing in. And, she made millions of dollars. When we were first there, I remember people saying, well, we got to figure out a way so it's not so hard on LaDonna because she has all the people going over there and needing funding for this and that, and it just takes all day long, and she can't hardly do anything else. And I'm like, well, who's LaDonna? Later I see who LaDonna is,
Mama LaDonna.
Mama LaDonna, and she's,
according to Angelo Sison, funded the Flint Wolves house.
Yeah, people were cashing in, hanging around her, and they still are. That's what I heard out of that short little clip.
Right, and she chose who she would help, too. And so did Phyllis. And Phyllis Young's assistant, let me remind you, was Christina Hollenbach, the woman that collected all of the false statements that were handed in Kathleen Bennett's case. These women knew about what was happening to Kathleen Bennett. They knew about Mary Trujillo laying in a hospital dying, and they didn't care.
Yeah.
They were friends with Mike Fassig and Michael Marcus. She was on the live stream when they were burning down the HQ headquarters. We have screenshots of her comments, laughing, making fun of the fact that the building is on fire. LaDonna is having a good time. These women didn't care and mocked what was happening to Lakota elders, their peers and their betters. And they didn't do anything when those women were suffering. And for that, I find them to be reprehensible. I find their continued silence to be reprehensible. The next video I have for you is John Gonzalez hanging out with the people from the WPLC. Here's a screenshot of this video I'm about to show you. And as you can see, this took place in Mandan. And he is with a representative of the Water Protective Legal Collective, which he tags in the video, whose name is Mary Redway. And this was, again, not that long ago. Here's a clip of them talking about. So you can see he's connected to the WPLC. So is Phyllis. So was LaDonna. And that is why every time I reached out to people associated with Phyllis's family, like I showed you that I did, every time that I reached out to people that I knew were connected to the WPLC who hadn't helped Mary or Kathleen, that had repeatedly said they would not help these two women, I thought, wow, like, they must all know. They must all be in on it, because they are all closing ranks to make sure that none of the funding and resources that was meant for people that were falsely accused and incarcerated at Standing Rock got to these two women, Kathleen Bennett and Mary Trujillo, who these people are all complicit in helping put in an early grave. And that is what is so frustrating about seeing their continue grifting and drifting and traveling around the world, telling people God knows what, and for God knows what projects. Once again, I will remind you, cold fusion is not real.
Yeah.
I'm just going to keep saying that. And it's sad to me, because you would think that a lot of people would just basically know this. You know, like, did people not even go to, you know, high school physics? Because I know that matter cannot be created or destroyed. You know, that's
only be
what
transformed.
physics want. Right. Do people not understand basic physics? It makes me sad for our country's educational system when this is what can be peddled without anyone saying no. This is bunk science. It's fake. But this is what these folks have attached themselves to and with. Okay, so here's that video of John Gonzalez hanging out with the people of the WPLC. He promotes them too.
Hi.
Get the feed a couple of seconds to build. Yeah, let's wait till one person gets on. One person?
You don't want to just
Come on.
talking to the cloud.
Yeah. All right. Until we're waiting, I'll just say good afternoon. Many blessings to all my relations in the four directions. I am Kanibu Masquat, Standing Bear, a.k.a. John Gonzalez. And
Long John.
we're in Mandan. That's
Yeah.
right. Long John is what they call me at the camps.
I know.
So we're in Mandan, and I'm with Mary Redway, who is, working vigorously with the Water Protective Legal Collective.
Happened for over a year now as a volunteer, full-time volunteer.
Yeah. So it's an honor to share space with you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to thank you in advance for all the hard work you've done for all of our water protectors. What kind of an update can you give us today?
Well, what would you like to hear first? Just some numbers? Because I think they're pretty impressive numbers.
Yeah, matter of fact, while you're reading them off, I'll flip it around and let them see.
Okay.
All right.
As you can see, these are just state cases. So these numbers don't have anything to do with our federal defendants like Red Fawn, Little Feather, Rattler, and so on. We've had a total of 838 cases. Now that is roughly 700 people arrested. And let me just explain that. Some people have several cases. I was only arrested once, but I was charged twice for a total of 5 charges, so I represent 2 of those cases.
Numerous times, and they represented a number of the cases on.
Yeah.
You know, their numbers are kind of fuzzy to me because what I noticed is that, and I've said this before, a lot of the people that were associated with just the one case that I investigated to its conclusion, where Kathleen Bennett was exonerated and all of her charges were dropped with the help of our reporting and the witnesses that came forward, like Josh and Ren. So in just that one case, I noticed there was a number of clients of the WPLC that had gotten arrested and were now being featured prominently as Standing Rock heroes within the media, like TYT and others, like Activate Now, and what's his Myron Dewey's Digital Smoke Signals, and many of those women indigenous media and others like them, were involved with making false statements against Kathleen Bennett. And people like, Nexus, Christina Hollenbeck, that collected all of those false statements against Kathleen Bennett, was working with the WPLC as she was actually framing one of the people that the WPLC eventually bailed out of jail.
Yep, exactly.
Like, I know that there are a myriad of ethical violations that occurred in the way the WPLC handled these cases, and in the way that the WPLC allowed themselves to be influenced and or worked in collusion with criminals that made false statements that put people in jail and that put another elder woman in an early grave. I know for a fact that they were. I have pictures and video. I have evidence I can prove, and I have proven that these things took place. So what I can tell you now about my understanding of what went on is that a lot of these folks, their job was, like you said, like you so intuitively knew, to promote the stories they want.
Yeah.
And to bury and hide anything that either contradicts them or makes them look bad. And that's exactly what was happening out at Standing Rock and in the media work that those people continue to do.
Yeah.
Here's another video of Dee Dee and John.
Eat. How weird is this, eh?
All right.
Okay, my arms are gonna fall off, but I'll do the first part of this.
You are a rookie.
No, I am not.
You should have an arm like a gimbal.
Well, I do have one of those things.
Yeah.
Do you like push buttons and share with people or what? I never.
No, I just talk to the people. You know. Hey, many blessings, all my relations in the four directions. Here we are, Prairie Knights Casino, North Dakota, Standing Rock. And I'm with the beautiful Dee Dee. I don't know how to pronounce your last name.
Banerjee.
Banerjee. Dee Dee Banerjee.
Is that JD Goodhouse online? Whoa. Hi, Tay. Hi, Kathy. Hi, Teresa, Brenda, Robin.
Yeah.
Good to see you guys.
Yeah. So we had a pretty good day today, right?
I can't even.
We went to, well, first we stopped at Rosebud, right? And what did we see at Rosebud?
Lots of Wombly. Lots of
Wombly flying overhead.
Eagles. Beautiful. And the wingspan. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It was...
Oh my. By the way, let's preface this. Suzanne, no, who was it? Summer, oh shit, Dee Dee, don't do nothing I wouldn't do. He doesn't have to worry. I won't do anything. It's all good. And look, there's my son, Luca. Just wave. He's eating a sandwich.
Yeah, we got him a half a sandwich.
Yeah, because we ate the other half.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, so it's been a time for healing.
Yeah.
For both of us, right? Because neither one of us have been here since the closing of the camps.
See it again.
What's wrong with her eyes? Can you hear me now?
Something's really weird. Sounds weird.
Is my microphone off? I didn't
Check
touch it. I didn't. It's on. Can you hear me though?
Yeah.
But nobody else can? If you hear me out on the live stream, let me know.
There we go. Got it fixed. There you go. Try it again.
What happened?
You don't want me to back up and tell you everything's wrong. Just
true.
it's fixed.
It's fixed. I fixed it.
So, anyways, yeah, I thought that
What was
her eyes are really funky. They were like and darting back and forth. And again, this is just few weeks ago, pretty much,
Yeah.
within the past couple of months. They're at Prairie Knights Casino. Before that, they were in Mobridge, which is south of Prairie Knights, where they're visiting Dean. Dean actually said in those videos he can't come to Prairie Knights because he's restricted because he got arrested there. So he's probably kind of banned from the property or might get arrested again if he actually goes up there. So they went down to Mobridge and looked like they were in a hotel in Mobridge. And then now they traveled another hour north and they're at Prairie Knights Casino. And, this is all, she visited Facing and Minneapolis on the way to Bismarck, then down to Mobridge. So she's making the rounds down there, and the whole idea that they all need healing, it's like,
From what?
I don't know. It's a healing from their shenanigans and their deceit and the horrible things that they were involved in. Yeah, I think they need some repentance for that, and some sort of healing. But they're like, oh, it's the first time we've been here since, the camp's closed. I don't know.
I still don't understand how you excuse yourself for hanging out with and being in close proximity to all of the people that I've named off. Like, Dee Dee was connected to Jordan Sheridan. Dee Dee was connected to Maggie Day. Dee Dee was connected to Mike Fasick. Dee Dee was like the Dean Dedman. The list goes on and on and on. She wasn't just hanging out with them at Standing Rock. She went with them afterwards to Flint, and she was traveling with them. And then she came back to visit them. She was doing live streams with them. She was defending them on social media, and on and on and on and on. So, I mean, these people can't play like, oh, I didn't know what was going on. Like Wes has continued to try to play dumb or crazy. I'm sorry. I'm not buying. It just doesn't make any sense. So the next video I'm going to show you is of this video that she made with John Gonzalez in a car. This one is them talking to, by the way, I'm going to tell you because you're not going to hear it in the video. They're talking to some guy on the phone whose name is Daniel Bluebird. And apparently he's in jail for something. I don't remember if I could hear very well what he said he was in jail for. And I guess it doesn't really matter. I just wanted to show you that they were doing a lot of live streams, hanging out with people and talking to people like this Daniel Bluebird. Here are some clips.
Yeah, so Daniel is Oglala, Lakota, and he's from Pine Ridge Reservation. And he was at the camps. He was there November 20th. He spent quite a bit of time at the camps, as well as journeying with me to Flint, Michigan, where we, went there. Even before, Camp Promise and the Wolves Den, we were there, talking to residences, raising awareness, handing out water, and making even a political statement, you might say, because we stopped by the governor's residence. That was, we actually left on Christmas Day to go to Flint, Michigan. So that was quite a time.
What a good
And
soul.
that story's in the book. Standing Rock is Everywhere, a story of faith, courage, and compassion by True North House Publishers.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, so that was him from jail, and you know what? It sounds like he's doing very well.
Yeah.
And he even said a few times he was glad to be there because he was slow in his roll.
Myron, my dear brother Myron, contacted me.
Love Myron.
And he said to me, are you drone ready? And I said, yeah, I'm drone ready. And he told me that he thought there was a place nearby in Canada that he wanted me to go to and teach drone flight, where our indigenous communities tell their own narrative, can monitor and secure their land, their sovereignty, their self-determination. And so my goal is to go to camps and not leave until there's a competent drone pilot in every camp that I go to.
Now, I wanted to point out this next video that I'm going to show you also features one of the people she went out in Flint to report for on behalf of, who is Miko Hayes of the Daily Hayes. He's been very closely associated to Ed Higgins, and of course, as you know, Ed Higgins is accused of being a rapist, as were the people that he, Derek Fassig, the son of Mike Fassig, one of the people who was reporting for Ed Higgins, was also recently convicted of rape. So, in this video, Dee Dee is talking about a number of things. I just took little clips and pieces. It's really weird. She did this like almost 2.5 hour, nearly 3 hour video in the middle of the night at Prairie Nights Casino because she couldn't sleep. And here are clips from the video of her kind of like wandering around the hotel and talking about, reminiscing about Standing Rock.
I haven't been back since Standing Rock, and it's so wild to be here again. Hi, Alphonse. I'm doing okay. I'm just being very melodramatic because I'm at the casino just like so many nights. I'm gonna go sit on the floor like I used to. I used to do live feeds just sitting on the floor, but it's so weird to be back here. Look at the pavilion sign. Remember when Bonnie Raitt came? It was amazing. Orlando, hi. Mary, what are you doing up so late? Yeah, I'm just reminiscing at the casino. When Standing Rock was in full on, this is what I did. I didn't think I was coming to Standing Rock. I was supposed to go to my uncle's beautiful 75 acres in Detroit Lakes, Minnesota for lots of fishing and fun and relaxation. And I found myself instead driving to Standing Rock because I was like, oh my goodness, I might not, hi Jan, I might not make it to Standing Rock this time around, and I couldn't not. I'm going to see if I can see a couple more water protectors before I leave, but I'm going to go to my reservation, Spirit Lake. Their powwow starts tomorrow.
Well, that should be wonderful. They should have the sun dancing going on as well, right?
I think that's already done.
Yeah.
In South Dakota, anyway.
Mm-hmm.
We lost audio on this one for some reason.
Oh no.
Not
Well,
sure
this
why.
is Dean Dedman. You can't really see him either.
Mm-hmm.
So the rest of the whole thing is like audioless?
I don't know. We're seeing it live, so can't predict the future.
Maybe the audio will come back?
Maybe.
Well, anyway, in this part of the video, Dee Dee is telling Dean that she just really wants to go see him, and she just wants to hop in her car and go there right now. And sounds like we've lost the audio on.
But I'm in my
there it
fucking
comes back.
pajamas as usual.
There's
I'm
Miko.
waiting for them to give me shit like they used to. Put some socks on, Dee Dee. This isn't your house, and I'm like, heck, it isn't. Hi, Joanne. Isn't that crazy though? It's like a look at I'm hang on, I'm sneaking in. I'm not supposed to be in here, but I want to be in here, so we're going in here. If they leave the doors open, what the hell do they expect me to do? Right? Do you remember all the veterans sleeping on the concrete floor?
Was it hard to get a room?
What bastards, eh? Like, seriously. Could never get a room. Where's my plug-in? Luca, where's mommy's plug-in for my phone? It's gonna... No, my charger. Okay. Huh? I don't know. Sorry, Miko, technical difficulties.
So she
Wow.
goes into the hotel room, and in the hotel room,
Yeah, her kid's sleeping.
her kid is asleep. Well, not anymore.
Yeah.
Did you hear what she asked him for when she woke him up?
Charger.
Her phone charger. You know why? So she can keep live streaming.
Yeah.
And he doesn't sound too thrilled to be woken up because mommy lost her phone charger. In the room is also John Gonzalez.
Yeah.
Because she continues with her live stream for quite a while after this, and she stays in the room, and so she's talking. I'm assuming that the people over there trying to sleep can hear her because they're like right there.
Yeah.
She even turns the camera at one point to them. She's like, "There's John, and there's my son."
Yeah.
I was surprised she didn't go, "Wave at the camera, Luca."
Yeah.
But anyway, point is that was a video in which she was talking about the veterans being in the pavilion. She asks Miko, they were both there? I'm assuming. Because she says, "Miko, do you remember when there was all these veterans in here in the pavilion?" And it's funny that she goes back there. She goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, you had to clean up all those bad words, Duke. I hope you wrote them down."
I did. Yeah.
She's like, "F it, I'm going in here. It's a restricted area, but I don't care. I mean, they left it open. What do they expect me to do?"
Yeah.
What did you think of that, Duke? What do
I
you
thought-
expect what do you expect her to do if they lock up some area that
Oh, yeah.
if they don't lock up the area she's not supposed to
If
be
it's
in?
not locked, how can they not expect me to walk into a restricted area if they don't actually lock it up? I'm just like, oh boy, feeling entitled. And actually, the place was empty.
Yeah, it looks
She's
like
in
it's
there
empty.
reminiscing. Or I don't see a soul anywhere. I'm just like,
Mm-hmm.
wow, there's like must have been a real slow day that day. There's no people, no staff cleaning anything. Of course, it's in the middle of the night.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought it was pretty crazy.
Right. And, because she was so closely connected to Maggie and the medic and healer people, it was doubly concerning for me, doubly troubling for me that she remained silent about the whole Kathleen Bennett situation, because many of the people that made false statements against Kathleen Bennett were part of the security teams, which her little boyfriend / love interest at camp, Mike Fassig, was part of. Michael Marcus were part of. And Olive Bias, one of the people that gave false statements against Kathleen Bennett, was part of. And Sweetgrass, one of the other people that was in the security teams that gave false statements against Kathleen Bennett, were part of. And the medics like Vanessa Red Bull, Bolin. I mean, she was close friends, allies, and hung out with almost every single one of the people that gave false statements against Kathleen Bennett.
Yeah.
And she never, and I think that, at first I was just like, well, they're all her friends and she likes them, so what does she care if they kill a Lakota elder? Like, she's going to still be friends with them. Apparently that doesn't bother her to the degree that it would be like, these people committed a heinous crime and I can't be friends with these people anymore. But it didn't feel like that was the case. And I thought maybe that's what it is. That's, she likes her friends. Like, if you find out that your, dad is like a murderer or something and you're like, well, he's still my dad. I don't know. Maybe it's like that. Maybe she just, maybe the bonds between her and the people that were involved in these activities, in these crimes, in these cover-ups, because a lot of them were also people that were just trying to cover up the Kathleen Bennett story. And she was well aware of their activities in trying to shut down the story of Kathleen Bennett in our reporting from this station, because she is in many videos actually talking about it on other media platforms and to her friends that I'm talking about right now. So
Yeah.
She was well aware of what she was doing and what they were doing, and she was okay with it, and she laughed about it with them. So she didn't care that there was a Lakota elder that was suffering and that went to an early grave because of those people that she was laughing on those live streams with. And she didn't care that they went on to continue to commit crimes afterwards. And that's, I think, almost more reprehensible, because by the time she went on these other trips to Flint and elsewhere, she was already aware of what had happened with Kathleen Bennett at Standing Rock, and that didn't seem to deter her from continuing on with some of these folks who, again, went on to commit more crimes, like raping. And they're taking their act all over the globe. I wanted to show you some of the places they've been traveling to. Here's a picture of some of these women, including LaDonna, and there's Washday Wee, Phyllis Young's daughter, and also Takata Iron Eyes, Chase Iron Eyes' daughter. And they're pictured with Pearl Means. That was one of the relatives of Russell Means, I'm assuming. And, of course, you can see Washday Wee Young is tagged. This is on LaDonna's own page. And where are they? Well, they are in Helsinki. If you look at the comments next to this picture, you will see it says right there that they are in Helsinki, Finland.
Wow.
Next, I have a picture of you of a recent event. You can see right there. It's just this year, not even a month ago, August 14th. This is part of the stuff that I showed you earlier, and it involves the Solve MIT gathering that happened, where Christina Hollenbeck, the woman that gathered the false statements against Kathleen Bennett, was prominently featured with the person that she used to be an assistant to at Standing Rock, Phyllis Young. So all these women were together at the same event. Next, you can see they're on their way to Portugal in the next photo. Did you get lost, honey?
There's no photo.
Yeah,
or
it's
is
right
it?
there. Oh, it's a video.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead and play it. That was a poster.
Não existe nenhum motivo para extrair combustíveis fósseis neste país, exceto o seguinte: o lucro ao curto prazo das petrolíferas.
The first oil drill is about to happen between September and January in the beautiful southern part of Portugal in Algarve, the surfing paradise. And we're also about to have the first gas drill or fracking in the center of Portugal, close to Fatima. It's going to pollute and contaminate our water, not just the water where we swim, where the tourists come on holidays, but also the water we drink.
Para mim é muito complicado imaginar um futuro em que ainda estamos a utilizar recursos como o petróleo, o carvão e outras energias mais sujas. Eu quero pensar realmente num futuro limpo.
Há uma comunidade internacional muito forte aqui e mais portugueses realmente têm que se esforçar e perceber um bocado que este contrato não faz sentido nenhum para nós, não é uma coisa positiva para Portugal como um todo. Vai haver alguns pequenos grupos que podem beneficiar, mas não há um argumento económico, não há um argumento social e realmente temos que focar naquilo a que somos bons, nas nossas praias, no nosso mar.
We say no to the drilling and we say yes to solar energy, to renewable energy, to a healthy future for our children.
I mean, what we're showcasing is that you can cook with the sun, especially in a climate like here in Portugal, but more.
So what I wanted to show you first, though, is the post that contained the video that you were just watching. And I apologize, that video was in Portuguese. I'm sure a lot of our listeners and viewers don't understand Portuguese. And if you're not actually watching the recording of this live stream and reading the subtitles that are in English, you probably couldn't understand any of that.
Yeah.
But they were talking about water, and in particular, they were talking about, I believe, fracking that was about to be authorized in Portugal, and which these people, along with a group of people, including LaDonna, went there to try to urge them not to do. So here's that post. And it was posted by Sacred Stone Camp, as you can see, August 4th. It says, on our way, they're going to Portugal. And it says, please pray with the people of Portugal. So Cova do Vapor is where they're going, and you can see they have Defend the Sacred, and there's a little it's actually a bunch of people on the sand that have formed to make those words. This is an aerial view, and they formed a dolphin, and they formed a Defend the Sacred thing. And I don't know if this is like a group of people that goes around making these pictures on the ground on beaches, but there was something very similar that they did of a medicine wheel of people that was shot from the sky at Standing Rock. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do.
And they've done other things like that at other places.
Yeah.
I don't know if...
And they need drones to do that, you know.
I don't know if that's part of the traveling circus of all these Hollywood marketing PR people that are working on these campaigns and astroturfing these issues. By the way, if you don't know what astroturfing is, you should go watch John Oliver's video last week tonight, where they explain astroturfing, which is basically co-opting by businesses or individuals that are wealthy that want to take the opportunity to make money off of somebody's current campaign to, for example, save their water from a pipeline, or search for missing and murdered Indigenous women, or get babies out of cages, etc., etc. So what you should be looking for as concerned citizens in your community is people that are astroturfing whatever current issue you're concerned about, because while they may inject your parade, meeting, camp, or whatever with more people and possibly even more resources or whatever, the end goal for these folks is to make money off of and defer funds from those of you who are the main characters in the plot. And in order to do this, they actually turn themselves into the focus of the issue and take it away from the very people that they came to be allies to. And that's what's dangerous about this. When people Rachel Dolezal their way into the indigenous movement, and then it turns out that they're really rapists like Red Wolf Pope, or fake Indians like Desiree Kane. So I wanted to go to the next one here. It's the Portugal video from the Sacred Stone camp. I think we just showed a little piece of that. Next we have the place where they went to, which is called Tamara. Yeah. This is the name of the place in Portugal where they visited, and you can see LaDonna posts about it on August 5th right there. Yeah. And there's an actual biotope organization, building thing that they went to visit there called the Healing Biotope. So that one's the next picture here. We'll get to that in a minute. It's called the Healing Biotope.
Got it right there.
And there they are at the Tamara Healing Biotope on August 3rd.
Yep.
And they're hanging out with a bunch of people. This is actually a still image from a video that features her in it. So here's that video.
Oops. One moment. One moment, please.
It's about next. That's that right there. It says water video featuring LaDonna.
Here we go.
Mani. And Mani means that which is related between you and I and all things. Ni means living, or you could say life. I is voicing. So you're voicing the living relationship between you and I and all things. And that's what water is.
Water is life. Water is female. Water is the central of everything.
Water is everything. Water is movement. Water is joy. Water is consciousness. You are water, I am water. Water is what connects us.
Water is us. Water is the source of consciousness.
Water is light, water is love, water is everything.
Water is transparent, water is sensual, water is flowing, water is you.
Water is sacred.
Water is of course nourishment. It is life, sustenance. It allows us to grow and live and fulfill all our biggest potentials.
The earth is in a deep emergency and needs our awareness, and we have to understand that we can't take away without asking the sources from the earth. We can heal the wounds of the past with this, but with a compassion to Mother Earth.
Ang tubig ay buhay.
Maginiuhay.
Agua é vida.
Mayim hem chayim.
Wasser ist Leben.
Mini Wachoni. Water is life.
Okay.
You can see there was a lot of pomp and circumstance for the big production costs for all of this stuff.
Yeah, they had the people thing there too, the high above and the people made designs and words. 1,000 people.
I mean, that you can't just make a video like that. I mean, I can't afford to do that unless you have some drones or a plane or something like that.
Yeah.
So I wanted to show you there's another LaDonna in Portugal video that we missed right before this one. That one right there. That one right there. Please play it.
All will pass away. Nature of all things. What is born today surely dies someday. Now it's time to pray.
I'm asking the Prime Minister and the Minister of Environment to please reconsider what you are doing to your country. Right now, you have pristine waters, pristine land, and there is no fracking or offshore oil developing at this time. And I know you just approved it, but I'm asking you to rescind it. Rescind it not only for your own people, but the people of the whole world. We can develop energy that respects the earth, respects our environment, and is healthy for the people. Change what you're doing now and save your land.
Wow, I see what they're doing.
Who is that?
Donna Iron Eyes.
Takata
Iron Eyes.
Mm-hmm. And who is she daughter of?
Chase Iron Eyes' daughter.
That's right. And again, Chase Iron Eyes wasn't just aware. I mean, he was personally contacted by me, told about what was going on with Kathleen Bennett's case. And to all of these people, they went on without ever acknowledging what happened to Kathleen Bennett, even after they were directly confronted numerous times. They defended the people that were involved in this crime. They tried to hide the crime. They tried to discredit us. And they even went so far as to attack us and our reporting. That is reprehensible. They were playing with the life of a woman who eventually they helped to send to her early grave. That's what they were doing when they were calling me a liar. That's what they were doing when they were saying that the reporting out of our station about this very important story was false. That's what they were doing when they were doing live streams with people associated with the security teams that made false statements against Kathleen Bennett, and laughing about what we were reporting on and saying that we were being negative and divisive, when in fact we were trying to expose a crime and exonerate an innocent woman and save the life of an elder. And those of you who participated in that, and yes, Dee Dee Banerjee was chief among them, should not only be ashamed of themselves, they should have to publicly apologize for what they did and expose those who they remain friends with that participated. But not only that, they should never be able to forget what they were associated with. It makes me angry to see people like Dee Dee and Mike Fassig celebrating the what they did at Standing Rock. I know what y'all did at Standing Rock. I went to Standing Rock. I reported on Standing Rock, and I have continued to more so than any other journalist, period, have been following meticulously and doing in-depth reporting for nearly 2 years now on all of the activities of these people. And let me tell you, they deserve to never be able to speak about their exploits, about what they went and did at Standing Rock, without the story of how they ignored and or covered up for their friends who were involved in a crime against these 2 innocent Lakota elders, following them wherever they go. That story smeared over the top of whatever happy memories they have of what they all did out at Standing Rock. Because I and my family and our station were immersed and burdened with what happened to the family of Kathleen Bennett for over a year and a half. There were times when we were terrified for the safety of Mary, for the safety of Kathleen, and when we were personally, you and I personally put our bodies in the way to make sure that people got home, that people were staying safe, and that we protected the people that were involved in this story and the witnesses. And so for all of those people who didn't do the due diligence of exposing and vetting the people that they were hanging out with, especially when they were involved in criminal activity, and they didn't ever do anything about that, y'all don't get to walk around reminiscing about Standing Rock without having somebody call you out and remind you what you ignored, buried, and also covered up, what you tried to hide, and the ways in which you badmouthed and maligned the good reporting that was coming out that could have helped that woman if you would have used your mouth as one of those leaders out there to say, oh yeah, the stuff Cindy's saying is absolutely true. Kathleen Bennett is completely innocent.
Exactly.
And a lot of the people that I'm hanging out with that are involved in this, I shouldn't be hanging out with them, but I like them even though they're criminals. So I know that's probably confusing. Why would I be hanging out? I'm supposed to be one of the nurses in the group at Standing Rock. I'm hanging out with rapists and con artists. That's strange. I know, right? But I'm not actually giving them agency. I just like hanging out with lowlives. That would have been honest, fair, and I could have accepted it. I would have even thought those people, I would have even respected those people more. Hey, hang out with whoever you want to hang out with. I'm not going to tell you who to be friends with. But don't give those people agency when you were seen as some kind of hero out at Standing Rock by remaining friends with people that committed crimes against elders and Indians, real ones, not fake ones, not just turned Indian at Standing Rock ones, but people that are indigenous of these lands, and specifically the Lakota, the Oglala Lakota in the case of Kathleen and Mary.
Exactly.
Okay, so I wanted to show you the next set of graphics that I have here of what happened on this trip that they went. One of the places that they visited was Portugal. Here is one of the pictures from Portugal.
I don't have one from Portugal.
It says right there, scene 3, the first one, it says Portugal.
Yeah.
And it is definitely in the every single one of these was put into this folder. I'm pretty sure, unless I didn't put one in there for you. Oh my goodness, did I miss one?
Yep.
Okay, let me find it and see if I can find it real quick. Oh, it looks like I don't have one in here for that either.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
So where did I get that idea from?
I thought you were just going to talk about Portugal.
Maybe, no, because I put on there, it says...
August 9th.
Oh, that was... You know where that one came from then? That came from the Nemo folder.
I don't see it in there either.
Ah.
That'd be...
Okay, well...
Oh, there it is.
See, there it is.
Let's bring that up.
Yeah. Sorry, we have graphics that come in from a variety of different people, so it can kind of get confusing. And the reason for that is because there's so much stuff. Some people collect some of the research. Duke collects some of the research. I collect some of the research. Nemo does some of the research, and then we all put it together, and it can get kind of crazy. So we missed this one. So you can see they were actually in Portugal, and this one is Lisbon, Portugal. This is Desiree Kane, the fake Miwok Indian lady. Practicing patience, she says, on August 9th. Next, here she is, and I'm going to show you that she's totally hanging out with LaDonna and also with Takata. So in addition to the way that these people chase Iron Eyes and LaDonna and Phyllis Young, in addition to being connected directly to the people that ordered the kidnapping and the framing of an innocent Lakota woman and put her mother in an early grave, because Chase was connected to Nexus. You see Desiree Kane connected to LaDonna and to Wes and to Winnie Wong and to Seven McDonald. I mean, they're super connected in all of the planning of all of these shenanigans. I can't imagine they weren't directly orchestrating the crimes committed against Indigenous people out there. And this woman, in particular, Desiree Kane, has injected herself now not as an ally that went to Standing Rock to stand in solidarity with the Lakota people, but as an Indian herself. I am Miwok woman. Me walk here, me walk there. No, seriously, she's never, if she has some indigenous blood in her, and I'm sure all the white people that went to Standing Rock now believe that they do, but here's the thing. You never talked about, never lived. There's a lot of truly indigenous people that have blood quantum in their bodies of being indigenous that are complete and total sellouts, that don't know anything about their indigeneity, that have never been raised with any traditions, that completely have assimilated to the ideals of white supremacy in America and shill for white supremacy in America, and they can wear regalia and be just as offensive because they don't know anything about what they are playing with. And traditions and ceremonies and all of those are not games, they're not toys, and they're not costumes, they're not things to be just put on to yourself. That's what this woman does. And she doesn't know anything about it, but she don't care. And you know how I know for sure? Her boyfriend, Jeremy Frendenberg, one of those people I showed you in the videos, he's part of the Indian Problem. I mean, literally, that's the organization he's with. It's called the Indian Problem. But he's part of the Indian Problem, and he told me. She went out there, and she told him she just discovered that she has some indigeneity in her. And he's like, well, yeah, but okay, whatever. If you're really an Indian, then you just discovered it. You can't walk around acting like you're the queen of the Indians now, and you're going to be like the one that leads them all. But she went ahead and did it anyhow. And she's been passing herself off as such the entire time. Far from being one of the Native people that should be at the heart of our concerns for Native Americans in this country, this woman, whose daddy was in NASA, who's part of NASA, who's traveling constantly all over the world. I've shown you in past shows the high level of wealth and of access and opportunity that this woman is associated with, much like Christina Hollenbeck. And she, Desiree Kane, is close friends not only with Wes, but also with Ed Higgins. They're both from Nevada, Ed Higgins and Desiree. So let me show you her going out to do a thing here. Here's her going out to do a thing. She says, doing a thing on August 4th. We can talk about it later. And she writes, Furo now. And so that's in Portuguese. She's talking about being in Portugal. And you notice that she's wearing some kind of band around her waist that says "Rise to Defend the Sacred," and she is wearing what looks like, she's wearing like a native skirt. Looks like some kind of a native skirt. Next, she is wearing that same skirt, and she's holding a feather. We're getting a little bit more native.
Oh, yeah.
And next to her, it says on that, it just doesn't say anything. Next one says something. The next one, she explains what this is about. She's in Lisbon, Spain, and she writes, "I love you. Hashtag no makeup. Liar, I can tell you put your bronzer on because you're not usually that color." And I mean, if you even look at her avatar up above, right there, you can see how white her chest is.
Yeah.
You liar. You too you're totally wearing makeup. You browned yourself up like you did in that other video. She's like, hashtag not sorry. Whenever I wear this t-shirt, someone always says, "Hey, nice shirt." And I say back, "Hey, thank you. I wear it to talk about the epidemic of missing and murdered Indigenous women." That's MMIW, the 4 roses to honor the lost. So she, again, is putting herself at the forefront of talking about missing and murdered Indigenous women as a white woman. You want a white woman who dresses up as a fake Indian, who fetishizes Indian bodies, women's Indian bodies. Rachel Dolezal herself weighed into this conversation. It is the most dangerous thing I can think of. A woman, a white woman, Rachel Dolezaling herself into the position of speaking on behalf of missing and murdered Indigenous women. Wow. And this is why stuff is so dangerous and wrong. Here is her post about the video against fracking, and that she says that they worked on yesterday. And then the next one is the screenshot of that video where she says, "Please watch it." And she says, "This is the port which Columbus sailed out of to Europe." Yes.
Wow.
Takata Ironites from Standing Rock is the singer. So she is out there. Wow. Takata Ironites is out there singing native songs for the video. And next we have another post of hers called Tamara Healing Biotope. And so she was there with LaDonna. I just want to prove to you she was really the same spots. It was part of the same trip. They were traveling together. She was with Takata. She was with LaDonna. Here is the Reliquias video that she posted. So next we have the water video, and you'll actually see LaDonna and Takata in this video. I don't see Desiree. Let me know if you see her.
All right.
Não existe nenhum motivo para extrair combustíveis fósseis neste país, exceto o seguinte: o lucro ao curto prazo das petrolíferas.
The first oil drill is about to happen between September and January in the beautiful southern part of Portugal in Algarve, the surfing paradise. And we're also about to have the first gas drill or fracking in the center of Portugal, close to Fatima. It's going to pollute and contaminate our water, not just the water where we swim, where the tourists come on holidays, but also the water we drink.
Para mim é muito complicado imaginar um futuro em que ainda estamos a utilizar recursos como o petróleo, o carvão e outras energias mais sujas. Eu quero pensar realmente num futuro limpo.
Há uma comunidade internacional muito forte aqui e mais portugueses realmente têm que se esforçar e perceber um bocado que este contrato não faz sentido nenhum para nós, não é uma coisa positiva para Portugal como um todo. Vai haver alguns pequenos grupos que podem beneficiar, mas não há um argumento económico, não há um argumento social e realmente temos que focar naquilo a que somos bons, nas nossas praias, no nosso mar.
We say no to the drilling, and we say yes to solar energy, to renewable energy, to a healthy future for our children. Yes.
I mean, what we're showcasing is that you can cook with the sun, especially in a climate like here in Portugal. But more on a deeper level, we're trying to demonstrate that we're not only protesting against the petroleum and the drilling, but we're representing a different future, a more beautiful, sustainable and humane future that's represented by solar technology and solar energy.
Portugal covered 104% of its electricity needs in March of this year by renewables exclusively. So Portugal can be one of the first countries in the world to move away completely from fossil fuels and power itself exclusively from renewable energies, solar, wind, waves. And in addition, by restoring ecosystems, we can leave floods, droughts, desertification and wildfires behind. We can create an example for hope in a changing climate.
Beyond all religion, I want to bring to awareness that life is sacred, and we invite the spirit of real freedom of life to be with us, to help us to say no where injustice is happening, and not fighting against anyone, but defending the sacred.
I know that if we stand together, we can do anything. I know that if we empower ourselves, we can do anything. I don't care how you pray, pray. And then stand up. Stand up for what is precious for our future generations.
El futuro será el agua o no habrá futuro. Así que estamos aquí para decir no más petróleo en nuestros mares, en nuestras aguas.
Our earth is sacred, water is sacred, our life is sacred, and we must do everything we can to stop those who are trying to take petrol out of our air.
Decirle a los poderes globales que quieren sacar, lastimar la tierra, que ya no le corten más las venas a la tierra, que queremos un mundo limpio, un mundo tranquilo.
This is not only for the Portugal, this is for the planet. So I am living in India, but Portugal Sea is our sea. So I can request to the government and I can request to the Portugal people, please listen.
Singing on
that. Yeah. Saw that in the post before that. And she was singing.
You know, and I think when you look at this stuff and you go, well, you know, how much harm could they do? What could really go wrong? Go back and watch what happened to Kathleen Bennett and her mom. I wouldn't let people that don't care about elders and what happened to Kathleen's mom the way that LaDonna didn't care, or Washington Wee Young, or Phyllis Young, or all of the people that they surrounded themselves with that helped cover up that crime. Near any elderly person or woman or child or anybody I cared about.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't feel safe going to some event where they were present because that's what happens around them. And I've shown you what they're capable of doing to further their narrative. It's entirely likely that Wes and his Hollywood people actually came up with the idea of finding some elderly woman that they were going to tell people was raped. And when they saw Mary and realized she had dementia, they were like, this one can't even talk.
Yeah, exactly.
This is the perfect victim.
Mm-hmm.
So that they could become these heroes that saved her from her own daughter. So that they could become these heroes that go on to protect women when we know they're capable of killing them, raping them, and leaving them to rot in a jail for crimes they committed or that their friends committed or that they have helped to cover up in some way. You know? So that is why there is such a danger in these folks grifting and drifting around the planet without any accountability for what they've already taken part in.
Yeah.
Here's the next video. And by the way, they're just having a grand old time. Think about real native people. At least Takata Iron Eyes is an actual Lakota child that is getting to have all of these opportunities. But you know, this is her second time going to Europe.
That's right.
And this is probably not even, you know, the only time that she's gone to several countries in Europe in one go. So wouldn't it have been nice if a lot of other Lakota children got a chance to go on one of those trips instead of it always and only being Takata, instead of it always and only being LaDonna's kids?
Yeah.
And instead of it always and only being the people in your little inner circle, in your little group, the people that all took part in this cover-up, in this operation that was funded partially by Nexus with the help of Hollywood and the help of people connected to the veterans and Wesley Clark Jr. and the Young Turks. Because if more people were involved, it wouldn't look like such a sham. It wouldn't appear to everyone to have been an opportunity for all of you to enrich yourselves. But what is even more disgusting is that you're giving those opportunities to people that aren't even Indians, like Desiree Kane. Check her out here in this video in Mallorca. She's in Spain here, having a good time. That's Mallorca, Spain, August 10th. You know they did it on the same trip because just days ago she was in Portugal. So they decided to go to Spain as well. And Mallorca is one of the most beautiful, according to people that have gone there that I know, and one of the most expensive places too.
I suppose, yeah.
Next, that's a very exclusive beach. Did you see that?
Yeah,
beach?
yeah, I did. I just like,
pretty fancy.
Check that out. It's small.
And she says, safe and sound in the underworld. Yes.
Yeah.
Also the underworld for most people to be able to afford to do and or even to go to that place. And next they were in Barcelona. And she's like, Playa del Vela. Look at her just having the time of her life in Barcelona. She's got little musical notes next to her words. And she says, sometimes I feel like I'm in Barcelona because she's in Barcelona.
She is in Barcelona.
And who comments on this post? None other than Ernesto Burbank. And he says, beautiful days filled with beautiful blessings. And she says, I haven't been in years. And he says, I know a guy that wants to see you. And Ernesto says, Desiree Kane, and has horses from what I understand. And Desiree Kane says, hell yeah, please tell him I am stoked to ride out and be with those horses. I also have some obligations to fill with sis Eloise Brown. And he says, will do. So Ernesto Burbank, that was associated with that guy, the first guy that Wesley Clark Jr. met at camp. Chris Turley, the veteran that walked from Oklahoma all the way to Standing Rock. And once he got there, he did a video with his brother, Ernesto Burbank.
Oh, yeah.
The Relatives in Prayer guy that went out to Flint with Chelsea Lyons,
Mm-hmm.
with Dee Dee Banerjee, with all of these people. The very same people that literally tried to put false information out about Kathleen Bennett, Ernesto Burbank, Desiree Kane. All of these people, they were in on it. Here's a picture of video, a screenshot, excuse me, of her at the Isla de Mallorca. That's in Spain, and this is an island called Isla de Mallorca in Baleares. And she says in her post of the video that I'm about to show you, where it appears she is swimming nude. She says, "Sometimes I wish my eyes were cameras. They aren't, though, so I opted for mirrors." And here is that video. Where's LaDonna? Tocata?
I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe they went to a different beach. Who knows?
Yep, maybe.
But, again, rather than real indigenous people getting those opportunities, it's the same people over and over and over and over and over again. And next, here is a post on one of these videos that she made, or one of her posts, by none other than Allison Renville. Do you remember recently when we talked about Red Wolf Pope and how he was one of the people that went out to meet Josh and Ren when they first talked to Wes Clark about Kathleen Bennett's case? Wesley Clark Jr. met with the two witnesses in her case, Josh and Ren, in California in person, along with Sadef Buyaktaman, the CFO of the Veterans Stand for Standing Rock, and Red Wolf Pope, the guy that was recently arrested for raping women in 2 states that we know of. Raping women through his Airbnbs, which he also filmed. Okay? When we were telling people about that show and what Red Wolf Pope was involved in, how he was involved in the Kathleen Bennett case as an attorney, for example, which we recently found out he really isn't. He's not an attorney. But at the time, he was passing himself off as an attorney in the case in which Kathleen's son was the first plaintiff. In a group of people that included some of the same folks that we've been talking about, are the same people that are grifting and drifting all over the place. And in that video, in that show that we talked about Red Wolf Pope, we showed you one of the people that was having a conversation about this guy, because a lot of people at Standing Rock and associated with Standing Rock were friends with and or hung out with the rapist. Of course, including Wesley Clark Jr. himself. They celebrated, traveled around the country with the rapist, Red Wolf Pope. They had him in their legal cases. They paraded him around, and he was merely an actor. And he wasn't even an indigenous actor. He was Chinese, pretending to be an Indian. But it wasn't just him. His whole family was actors. His dad before him had pretended to be an Indian in movies and things and shows. And his grandpa also. And they were all Chinese. And Red Wolf Pope, in addition to being an actor and Chinese, was also a rapist. Is also a rapist. And so they were, all these Standing Rock people were having conversations, and this Allison Renville, that is friends with Desiree Kane, was saying that we should have done more, we should have known, blah 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 blah.
She said that he might fit the description of the man who was raping women in camp.
Might fit the
a big man with the braid, and I thought it kind of sounds familiar. That was one of those stories about Mary Trujillo being raped by a
man with
a braid. So she says this might be the man that we were looking for. And I thought, you never caught that guy, and he's doing raping all over the place, and now Red Wolf comes out. And that might have been the guy.
How are they going to catch criminals when they're all friends with all the criminals?
That's right.
They're literally the criminals? How are they going to catch a criminal? They couldn't catch a criminal.
Yeah.
And this woman I also showed you on that show when we talked about Red Wolf Pope, because we called out a lot of these hypocrites, including Monape and many others who were associated with the kidnapping and the false imprisonment of Kathleen Bennett and her mom, Mary Trujillo. And Allison Renville was one of the people we called out because in addition to what she was saying about Red Wolf Pope in that post with all the other hypocrites, she had talked to the witnesses. She had talked to Josh and Ren. She had sent Josh a private message telling him to stop talking about the innocence of Kathleen Bennett because she knew for a fact that it had been proven true that Kathleen Bennett was an elder abuser and that all of this stuff was going to be coming out soon. So shut up, witness Josh. She was tampering with a witness. That woman is friends with Desiree King. Just so you know.
Yeah.
These are people that were out in public tampering with witnesses in a case of a woman who was facing 15 years in prison. And these were the people that are surrounding this story that are now out there supposedly doing good deeds on behalf of the climate and our planet and our Mother Earth and women that are missing. God knows what else they want to insert themselves into. I'm worried about this. Here's that post. She says, I'm on sabbatical, kinda, and the best news I've had is that I was given a friendship bracelet today on the beach. It's rad. Hashtag winning. Oh, and we made the Portuguese national news. And Allison says, no big deal, lol. So, wow. And she says she's in Tamara. So there she is talking to Allison Renville. Next, and here's a picture of her in her free little feather. Now, if you can close in a little bit closer, she's in Shakopee, Minnesota. If you make it a little bit bigger, you'll notice this is on August 25th. So she's now back in Minnesota. She's put orange on her face. You can see that, right?
Yeah.
You can see she's wearing orange face. This isn't the first time I've seen her do that, but I believe she is she's definitely trying to pass herself off as an Indian.
Yeah.
And putting on brown face to help herself. She probably gets some pupilentes, the next one, and that was a disturbing one because she's wearing a free red little feather t-shirt, and she's wearing a bandana. Like, if you dress like a cowgirl, you think that you'll pass as an Indian, or what? I mean, just because you wear the garb doesn't mean that you are the person. And appropriating Indigenous women's bodies so that you can be their advocates on their behalf is an appropriation that is dangerous and that is harmful to Indigenous women's lives. This woman was at the forefront of the Olivia Lone Bear search, and there was some really strange things that went on with that search. All I can tell you is whatever Desiree Kane goes near or touches usually involves criminals like Mike Fasig and or rapists like Red Wolf Pope, etc. And that's of deep concern and should be to a lot of people. Here, she is at the Red Nations relay race. So she the horse thing that Ernesto was talking about was this relay race that they were doing. And by the way, they were going to do some, racing for murdered and missing Indigenous women. So it's an event with Native people. They're going to an event where Native people are and co-opting the use of the missing and murdered Indigenous women thing for people like Desiree Kane to then be able to use to get resources for herself and her organization. She's just using Indian bodies to do it. Here she is painting Indians' faces.
Mouth, you can get it all off your lips, okay? You open your mouth when she has that on there, it's gonna get in your mouth. You don't want that, because it tastes nasty. Okay?
I know.
Ready? Look right straight ahead. Don't say nothing and go. Okay. How about her fill it in?
Sandy Jason. Don't smile. Should I go right there?
Okay, ready? Open your mouth.
The next video is of her making a post. This post is on her Facebook page. It's a repost. Notice that it's reposting something else. And she says in her post of this post that she's sharing, it's critical that we protect our movement media. Our movement media, folks. And who is it that she wants to protect? She says, a woman, Karen Savage. She says, I don't know her, but I know her work. And it's important to water protectors battling energy transfer partners on the front lines. Tune in different contexts. This could be me. This could be me, she says. So if you show up for me, please show up for her. And who is making this post? Who is sounding the alarm? And who is this person that needs to be protected? And what is being shared about her? By whom? Why, it's none other than the rapist, Jordan Sheridan.
Oh, yeah.
So how long ago was she reposting the post of a rapist that raped a woman in Flint, Michigan, that raped a reporter, Carly Hammond, August 21st.
Really?
How long ago was that?
Oh, a couple weeks ago.
A couple weeks ago, Desiree Kane was reposting the media of a rapist.
Yeah.
That raped a woman along with Chelsea Lyons. But then again, Desiree Kane is also friends with rapist Chelsea Lyons.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see where the problems lie here, folks? Do
Yeah.
you understand why this is problematic and dangerous? And next, I will show you her. This is definitely his post. You can see down below there on Sheridan's page, which he's now collecting Patreon on. And it says Jordan Sheridan reports, because nobody will hire him. He got fired by TYT after he raped Carly Hammond.
Mm-hmm.
And so now he takes donations on that page. But you can see the first post there on that page is the No Bayou Bridge, Karen Savage. So even though you went out and co-opted indigenous movements at Standing Rock, and your gravy train got cut off when you were caught raping women, you decided you would keep on cashing in on indigenous people's pain and suffering anyway?
Yeah.
What gives you the right to do that after you got caught being a criminal? You don't get to go and smear rape on top of the pipeline protests. You don't get to smear rape and your racism and your tone deafness about the Kathleen Bennett story and the cover-up that you and your station at TYT tried to do on that, and simply go on collecting money and accolades. You can't do that to other people's movements. You don't put your rape on top of these indigenous-led movements and these issues of missing and murdered women. That's disgusting. And Desiree Kane is endorsing it because she's here for that. I mean, like, literally, that's what she's here for. That's what she's here to do. She's here to co-opt the movements of indigenous people, and she don't mind bringing her rapists and racist friends along with her for the ride. Because what they're selling is us. They're selling themselves as if they were us, and they're speaking on our behalf. And they can't have... Sadly, they don't bring along real, genuine people that are the center of the suffering, who should be at the forefront of these issues, those aren't the people that they're focused on. They're focused on fake Indians, not even real ones. And sellouts who would, for the highest bidder, give their mother or their father or their community to the highest bidder. People like Chase Iron Eyes, people like LaDonna, people that didn't have any problem collecting a check, even if it meant that people got hurt along the way. Here is her post about Philip Lane Sr. She's quoting him here, and I'll get to him in a moment. Why don't you read the quote of this man?
Desiree Kane. And the quote is, quote, I want to pay a tremendous respect to the women, our women folk. Man may slay one another, but cannot ever overcome the woman. For in the quietude of her lap lies the child. You can slay him once and again, but he issues is often from that same gentle lap, a gift to the great good, in which man is only an accomplice. That all we are, we're only an accomplice. The woman needs us only for one night. Here we stand in eagle feathers and war bonnets and all that, and our women so gentle, so sweet, so kind. Yet the race of man goes on because of our women, unquote. Phil Lane Sr., 1992.
Do you know who Phil Lane Sr. is?
No.
Remember I told you I had to go and look into my 1 year ago research? Somebody sent me stuff on Phil Lane Sr. a long time ago, and I didn't get to it because, well, I'll be honest with you. The stuff that I was sent about Phil Lane Sr. took me down a rabbit hole. It didn't just have to do with him, however. It had to do with all of these different, like, fake shaman, fake Indians, people like Red Wolf Pope that weren't of Indian heritage, that weren't of Indian background, but that tried to pass themselves off as natives, and that were cashing in on it by going to festivals and doing like these fake shaman ceremonies and all this stuff. And at the time, and this, you gotta remember, this was early on in the reporting of Kathleen Bennett, when I was researching the Mulaney Church, that's when I started getting information from different people about these different fake shaman. And one of the people that was accused of this kind of stuff was Arva Looking Horse. Another guy that was accused of this stuff was Winona LaDuke's dad.
Yeah.
Another person that was accused of this stuff was Philip Lane Jr. And a lot of these white people like Wes Clark Jr. and the Los Angeles folks that came and co-opted and astroturfed this movement, they all prefer a fake Indian to a real one any given Sunday. In fact, they want the guy that's pretending to be an Indian because you can cue him and he just does his little shtick. Whereas real indigenous people aren't one-dimensional. And they're not monolithic, so they all have different opinions, different ideas. They're going to react to things differently. And they can't just be wrangled, and they can't usually just be bought off. Except for, of course, you know, people like Chase and LaDonna and Phyllis. Most of those people, of course, have connections to Coachella type style festivals, New Age, medicine, healing, Reiki, talking to the spirits, where you got these huge things where you don't just go and get Reiki. You can also see a shaman, do a thing. You can also see a Buddhist guy, and you can see a guy from India.
A New Age festival.
Yeah, there's these things. And there's music there. There's all sorts of different kinds of medicine. There's all this kind of weird stuff. That's what Philip Lane is part of.
I see.
That's who Desiree, fake Miwok Indian woman, is promoting. Because you and your daddy would know Desiree Kane, you fake Indian. And so they promote fake Indians. And as you saw, you could get one like Philip Lane that just bangs the drums and wear headdresses that he shouldn't. and hangs out with and validates other fake shaman and fake Indians at these fake festivals where they all rake in money. Look at what somebody wrote on this topic board called Frauds and Exploiters Profiting and Promoting Themselves Off of No Dapple. Excuse me. Can you read that for me, sweetie?
I don't know. It's pretty small and kind of hard to read.
It says, hi there, Unity Fest.
Okay, I got it. Hi there. Unity Fest is unrelated to our organization. We don't put on that event. We've only known Phil Lane Jr. to be one of the...
Be of service.
Be of service, and have seen him do a lot of good in the community. We'll ask him about being a
chief. We'll ask him about being a chief. The question was about whether or not he was an actual chief and why they're actually using him. You'll see the question down below, and they says that we'll ask him about being a chief, and then what else does it say, honey? We'll ask him about being a chief and post again on this thread. I don't think that they actually did. Maybe they did go ask him about being a chief, but I don't think they responded to the answer later on. But anyway, the question originally was...
Hello, everyone. We are completing some of our final projects for Standing Rock in collaboration with Chief Phil Lane Jr. And we'll have our Standing Rock report finished by April 22nd. Thank you for your patience.
And somebody responds to this. Not only is Phil Lane Jr. not a chief, he's appeared at one of your festivals, Unity Fest, that has exploiters, obvious frauds, and dubious characters. And then they put a link to the unityfest.com 2016 event. And it says ceremony. It says, your group hosts obvious frauds from Adam D. Arman, Carlos Cedillo, Jose Federico Munoz, and on top of Lane. So here's other frauds that your event hosts of these fake people pretending to be Indians. It says your group personally profited from this festival and presented them as legit.
Yeah.
Do you even bother to check on the people that you host, or do you just not care? How naive and ignorant would you have to be to host someone claiming crystal skulls were part of Mayan belief? And then it says Unify.org may deserve its own research thread as an exploiters organization. That's unless you can convince us that you were clueless and show us that you're willing to make an effort to avoid hosting exploiters in future. And so their response to all of that was, we'll ask Phil Lane if he's actually a chief, and we'll get back to you.
We'll get back to you. We'll let you know.
So just to give you some more idea about what this Desiree Kane is about, it's all fake, fakery with fakeness on top and fakeness around.
Yep.
And where is she now? Where did she go next?
Nepal.
Recently, she went to Nepal.
Yep.
Now she's going to another place where there are Indians and harassing them. Here's her post.
Actually, I can't find it.
It's right there in front of you. Oh, it's not there?
No.
What happened to it?
I don't know.
What do you mean you can't find it?
I can't find it anywhere.
You can't find it anywhere?
Nope.
It should be in this one. It definitely should be in this one. So did I put it in there or not? Maybe I did not put it in there. Oh, I'm sorry. I found it. Here it is. That was my bad.
Okay,
Sometimes when you have a lot of these things, there can be technical difficulties because, there's a lot of things. But you see it now, right?
Where'd you put it?
It's right there. Maybe you just need to give it a moment because I'm sending it through the electrical field at you. And so I'm using cold fusion.
Oh, yeah.
To meld it through the energy forces that, hey, if it works for Sean Stone, why can't it work for us? I mean,
That's right.
I mean, James Martinez is talking to the son of a Hollywood director about some mumbo jumbo. Why can't we can't make it work?
Yeah, we can make it work.
We're not believable or what? Oh, you can't call it that now. You have to call it something else, because... Where'd it go?
Just hold on, I'll get it for you.
So, this is where they are now. Is it just me, or does she appear to be mocking the man in the picture?
Yeah, that's a strange pose.
I don't understand why she's making that face and why, like, but it seems to be mocking of the man. I don't think that he's in on the joke, but here's what I will tell you, okay? This drifting and grifting and these lies and what is behind the people that they support and that they have supported is very dangerous and continues to be a threat, not just in North Dakota and Minnesota, not just at Standing Rock, not just at the camps, not just at the poor people's campaigns, the women's marches, and all of the places where these people have shown up lately, but all over the planet. So it's imperative that we continue to identify who they are, what they are, who is behind them, where their money comes from, and what they're up to right now. And to make sure that you keep these grifters and drifters out of your movements. Thanks for being with Mexican Crossing Lines with Cindy Gomez-Schempp
and Duke Gomez-Schempp
on 88.1 FM KPPPLP Fargo Moorhead, where we are adding local color to your airwaves. If you know anything about Nexus or any of these other shady folks that we have shown you on our show, let me know. Thanks for being with us. Good night.